Hello everyone, yeah, it's me again, and welcome to our second meeting of translation subject. Yeah, and in today's meeting, we'll be discussing about definition and also the types of translation. Yeah. Okay, so what is translation actually? It comes from the Latin words. Okay, the root verb is translatum or transfer. Yeah, in English, to transfer. Yeah, it's from trans, across, fer can be to carry or to bring. Translation means to bring about the new definition from the source language into the target language. Okay, there are some definition of translation actually. It's from NIDA, stating that translation at least consists of reproducing in the receptor language the closest natural equivalence of the source language message. First in terms of meaning and also second in terms of style. Remember, first in terms of meaning and also in terms of style. So the word translation can be defined as follow. It is the process of turning an original or source text into a text in another language, a translated version of a text, okay, from the source language to the target language. It's about the different meaning from, no, sorry, not the different, my bad. It's about the equivalence meaning from the source language into the target language. Yes. Translation is also a mental activity. This is important to note, everyone, to take note, in which a meaning of given linguistic discourse is rendered from one language to another. Is a mental activity, is an active process. Okay, it is the act of transferring the linguistic entities from one language into the equivalent into another language. Okay, the keyword is about the equivalence, almost the same meaning. Okay, even though it is difficult to find the exact meaning from source language to the target language. Sometimes it's difficult. Translation also is an act through which the content of a text is transferred from the source language into the target language. Poster, it's 1958. The language can be translated. The language to be translated is called source language. Okay. Meanwhile, the language to be translated into or arrive at is called target language. The examples. I want to translate from Bahasa Indonesia into English. So Bahasa Indonesia is source language and English is target language. But if I want to translate from Bahasa Inggris into Bahasa Indonesia, Bahasa Inggris or English is source language and the target language is Bahasa Indonesia. Remember, the target language. The translator needs to have good knowledge of both the source and the target language. Remember, even though you want to translate something which is in the general, not in the specific document or specific translation activity, at least you need to have a good knowledge, at least, yeah, to both language, source language and also the target language. In addition to high linguistic sensitivity, as he or she should transmit the writer's intention, original thoughts and opinion. When we were doing translation, there have been several things to consider. It's about writer's intention, original thought, and also opinion. So, a good translator, okay, cannot take their own opinion to the target language because it's forbidden. Okay, we may add some more opinion, but it's just an optional. Okay, because we need to focus firstly to the writer's intention and also the original thought, if it is possible. But if it is not possible, I mean, it's quite difficult to translate a sentence, a paragraph possibly, and it is impossible to find the equivalent meaning to the target language. Oh, can be. We may add, okay, some more opinion, but it's the last option. Remember, we need to focus on first, yeah, the writer intention, the original thoughts, and the last, the opinion. Okay, we just cannot make it like opinion, original thought, and writer intention. Okay, that's a big deal. Okay, translation is also a process and also a product, remember, because there have been, in the end, the new product from the source language to the target language. So that's why translation is a complex process and also a product. According to Catford, the translation itself is the replacement of a textual material in one language or source language which have equivalence, okay, which have equivalent material in another language. And this definition showing that translation itself is a process in the sense that it is an activity. Remember, translation is an activity, even it is a process, okay, which is performed by people through time. Remember, it takes time, okay, when expressions are translated into simple ones in the same language. It can also be done from one language into another different language. Translation is, on the other hand, a product, since it provides us with other different culture to ancient societies and civilization life when the translated text reaches us. Remember, translation is a process and it is also a product. Translation is like a woman. If it is beautiful, it is not faithful. If it is faithful, it is more certainly not beautiful. Wow, I do like this quote. Okay, something which is highly familiar with us. Okay, from those definition of translation, I think I just like the way, the definition of translation is given, to make the reader, take a good understanding of this definition of translation. Translation is just like a woman. If it is beautiful, it is not faithful actually. And if it is faithful, it is more certainly not beautiful. And I do hope you can take it, okay? You can take it in or for the real meaning of this quote. Okay, this quote is coming or attributed to Yevgeny Yevtushenko, among others. Okay, literal or word-for-word attempts can result in some amusing translation fails. Okay, yeah. Okay, hopefully you can see this picture clearly, everyone. Yeah. So they're having a lot of range of translation from functional basis. We also can view translation from its means use, from its material, from the way the translation describe it. Okay, from functional basis, it can be divided into literary and also information. From means use can be machine translation, can be human translation, can be computer assisted translation. From the material can be oral translation, can be written translation. From the way it is described, it can be divided into interlingual translation, intralingual, and also intersemiotic. Okay, interlingual, intralingual, and also intersemiotic. And we'll discuss about this more further on the next slide. Okay, there are several types of translation. Okay, according to Jacobson on linguistic aspect of translation, at least there are three kinds of translation. Intralingual. So what is intralingual translation? It is if we translate within one language and we only rewording or paraphrasing, For instance, so okay, this is the example. Harry Potter, okay? It is written by J.K. Rowling, right? A prominent writer. Okay, and there are so many versions of Harry Potter books, right? Okay, those several version, yeah, had been translated into different language. Okay, so it means intralingual translation from one language and then has been rewarding and also has been paraphrased into different language. That's so-called intralingual translation. The example is Harry Potter's book, written by J.K. Rowling. Next is interlingual. Please keep in your mind, intralingual and interlingual is totally different. Okay, intralingual means from one language and it is translated into different language. Okay, by using rewarding technique and also paraphrasing technique. But if it is interlingual, mean between two languages. Okay, this is the explanation. This kind of translation is the real meaning of translation itself. In this kind of translation, a translator rewrites, remember, rewrites the meaning or idea from source language text to target language. The translator rewrites the meaning or the idea. Okay, next, intersemiotic, between sign system. This kind of translation actually include an interpretation of a text into another system or sign. For instance, an interpretation from a novel into film. There have been the huge differences, right, between let's say the activity or the utterances from the novel into a film, because it's not that easy to interpret, to translate, yeah, the, let's say, the equivalence, yeah, let's say meaning, the equivalence word from the novel into a film. Yeah, that means intersemiotic. Meanwhile, Catford proposed at least three broad types or categories of translation in terms of the extent, the level, and also the ranks. Okay, this is the extent full versus partial translation. In a full translation, it is usually the entire text submitted to the translation process. That is very part of the source translation. It is replaced by the target translation material. In partial translation, some part of the source translation are left untranslated. They are simply transferred to and incorporated in the, let's say, target translation. Extend, full, and partial versus partial. Yep. Level total versus restricted translation. Okay, the main point is about is the translation performed only at the phonological or at the graphological level, or at least at one of the two levels of grammar and lexis. Yep. Ranks of translation. It relates to the rank in a grammatical or phonological hierarchy at which translation equivalent is established. Okay, according to Larson, explain, at least there are two main kinds of translation. One is something that's called form-based translation, which attempts to follow the form of the source language and are known as literal translation. The other is meaning-based translation. Okay, it makes every effort to communicate the meaning of the source language text in the natural form of the receptor language. It is also called as an idiomatic translation, something which is possibly the most difficult part in doing translation activity, idiomatic translation. Okay, it is still from Larson. Okay, he says that it's not easy to consistently translate idiomatically, so that's why, yeah, we need to have at least the same level from the source language to the target language. If you want to translate from Bahasa Indonesia to English, at least your Bahasa Indonesia level at least has the equivalence with the level of English. Okay, If your Bahasa Indonesia level is in, let's say, advanced level, so your English level should be in the advanced level as well. That's the thing. Okay, we have exercise. So from this meeting, the exercise from this meeting, you need to translate your current social media or status. It can be from the, let's say, from the last week, yeah, from the last 3 days, can be from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and so on. From Bahasa Indonesia to English. Remember, from Bahasa to English, yeah, not from English to Bahasa Indonesia. And ask your friend to give comment or feedback to your social media status or translated version. Okay, since this is the exercise, so as it's proof, so you need to screenshot, yeah, your translation from your social media status, yeah, and please have it submitted, yeah, by using WhatsApp group, yeah, because we have also online assignment. That's different things. Okay, so this is only for the exercise. Okay, everyone, I think that's all, everyone. And yeah, I don't forget to always say that stay healthy, everyone, yeah, and stay motivated. Thank you and see ya.